Meet Pixy. In fact, EMEET Pixy. This is the Pixy camera by EMEET, and it's their brand new AI camera. You notice it's got two cameras on it. They look like eyes, looks like a little robot. Well, one camera is for you to film yourself and also live stream yourself, and the other camera is the dedicated AI tracking camera. It's got a 2-axis gimbal, but also they've got a 3 mic array with different sounds. Musicians and performers, if you're looking at live streaming and you want a camera to track you, then you could be using this as your dedicated daily. Now, before we get going, EMEET sent the camera out for me for review. This is a pre-production camera with pre-production software. So I'm going to show you the software, but the software might change. And I want to show you how it tracks if it's using it for a performance, or if you're a music educator and you want to showcase a performance without cropping in an image and losing quality. And of course, in this review, the thoughts are my own. Right, let's unbox it. Alright then, so this little camera has got a couple of tricks up its sleeve, but we'll get it open first of all. So this is the box, nice little design here, and that's fine. You can see I haven't opened it yet. So let's get to opening it and we'll find out what's inside. Here's our trusty little knife here to cut these. So let's open this up and see what's inside. That's cute. A nice little package in there with a little wave. They've made it look like a little robot. I quite like that. It's quite cute. And on the back, there's actually sort of like product information and how to get started. It's all QR codes, which is quite easy because you can just use your phone. There we go, little box. Oh, there he is there, look. He's in the box, asleep. And then we've got all our other bump here. So I'm guessing we've got cable here. And yep, we've got our cable, USB-C to USB-A. Oh no, it's not USB-A. It's USB-C to USB-C, but with a USB-C to USB-A adapter. That's excellent. 10 points to them. I like that because I want to get away from USB-A. But for those who still need it, you've got the little adapter there. That's a nice little touch. I like that. There's also your normal bump in here for safety procedures and everything else like that. And then here is Pixy. Let's bring Pixy out. We've got a little stand here with a 1/4-inch thread. That's quite cool. And then the main event is the camera itself, and there he is, little Pixy camera. And then we've got a 1/4-inch thread on the bottom of the camera itself, and then you've got USB-C on the back, and we've got his little axis, so we can move this way, and I think it's about 330 degrees, and then we can move down and up, go all the way to the top, and all the way down to the bottom. And to keep it secure, we've got a 1/4-inch thread here, so we can thread that in, and he's not going to go anywhere. So now he's on his little stand, you can see there. And as I said, you can then obviously put that on your monitor. Now, if your monitor's a little bit high, then of course you can angle it down, which is really, really cool. And then of course the camera will move as well. The next part of this is getting the software up and running. As I said before, it's pre-production software, but let's get it up and running and let's see what it looks like. Ooh, looking at you. Okay, so when you boot this up for the first time and you got the software, this is what it looks like. Now, I look a little bit odd at the moment, but we've not set anything up yet, so let's go through it right now. Also, the microphone you're listening to right now is the Pixy. So let me take you through the software. You've got control in this section here where we can control the camera and also the audio mode. At the moment we're in live mode. We've got effect, and then this is where we're going to start changing the color to make it look a little bit more natural. And then we've also got assistance as well, and we can use assistance for focus and then privacy mode, a couple of bits and bobs. We've got a big preview window here, which is cool. And then you've also got this, and you can actually make it a mini version. So if you're doing a presentation, want to get it out of the way, you can just make it like a little toolbar. So the toolbar looks like that, and I've just moved it up a little bit so you can see it. So you can still control things and do a couple of little bits and bobs and hit record. So let's bring it back. And this little camera is virtual camera. So you can then send the output of Pixy to somewhere else like OBS or Restream. Got a couple little things here, including pinning this to the top. So if you've got a presentation, this can always be on the top, and you've got your settings here for doing updates and things like that. And then this tiny little arrow here, that'll just take you to the website. Now at the moment, Pixy is not out yet. So if I click that and went to there right now, I wouldn't actually find Pixy right now. And then we've got our preview. Underneath the preview, you can see we've got 4K 30. We can change this over to lots of different resolutions at different frame rates. We can change the camera angle as well, so we can actually have it in different angles if you need to, no problem at all, and it goes 90 degrees, and that's great. We've also can flip it either way, horizontally or vertically, and then you have two modes. You've got a whiteboard mode and you've got record. Whiteboard mode actually is really clever, where you can actually have a whiteboard and it'll keep the whiteboard in frame as well as you, which is really handy if you're doing something physical. You've got a physical whiteboard. Record, of course, is recording the output of this, and then therefore you can use that as a file if you're going to use it for editing, which I'll be doing and show you that a little bit later. Then underneath you can see we've got a couple of different things. We've got device in normal mode, preview, obviously what the preview is, which camera it is, because of course if you had more than one you can have a couple of them. You've got filters, so we can add a couple of different filters here, and we've got customize, we've got everything from default, so if we put it onto blue, we can do that now. See, it's gone a little bit bluey, and these are actually filters that are in effect, so they're just down here. Then we've got the audio and the mode at the moment, so you've got monitoring, and you've also got a little gear icon. It'll give you a menu for Pixy, it'll give you a menu for any audio you've got coming in, and then you can choose which audio you're using. So for musicians, you may want to use the microphone on the top if you're just talking to someone, but maybe you want to use the audio of your audio interface and plug that in and dedicate the camera to just being a camera. You can do that, no problem at all. Finally, what you've got is script generation, and if you click this, this will actually give you in EMEET Studio a script writer, which is really handy, and actually it uses AI, and I'm just going to bring this in right now just to show you what it looks like. So this will actually give you, it says please enter your script creation requirements in this input box to start a new creation conversation. And we're using AI, and yeah, AI can actually really do this. You've got maybe live recording, help me generate a vlog, or food sharing, or maybe you're recording your pets. You can do these, and it's actually got all these different AIs built in. So you've got Gemini, you've got ChatGPT, you've got Claude, and you've got Grok as well, and it can help you create a script built in to EMEET Studio. That's something I've not seen before built into a webcam, but that's really, really clever. So let's get into these modes over here. So as I said, we've got control mode, we've got standard, we've also got tracking, and you can either click it here or you can raise your hand and it'll automatically start tracking. So let's go into tracking mode. So now it's tracking my face, and it's using that second camera to keep me in frame, which is really, really clever. And then we can also go into privacy mode, and as soon as I click this, the camera will act. Back into standard mode, and you can see it goes and it moves back up again. The way it's actually set is a little bit low, so we're going to use our PTZ controls here. Now you can use this one and move things around way like that if you want to, and that's fine. The alternative you can do is you can click on these arrows. So if I click on these arrows like this, but we've also got an initial position. So if I move it over to say down here somewhere, we've got save that as an initial position, or what I can do is I can return to the initial position. So if I give that a click, woomph, we're back. And then we can just use these arrows just to make it a little bit more in frame. There we go. Now I'm going to save that as the initial position, and then you've also got different ones. So you've got 3 different ones there. We've got a zoom there as well if you want to use it. Now from control over to effects, and this is where we're going to start changing the color and the look of this. Now we're in this blues one, so what we're going to do is we're going to go over to default, and we'll go over to default. That's what default looks like, but it says restore to default, save to customization. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go over to customize, and then these actually start becoming live. You can see here we can change all these different things. So the first thing I'm going to do is the brightness, and you've got everything from 0 to 255, and that's ridiculously bright. And then we've also got the contrast as well, but the big one for me really is auto exposure. So I'm going to turn auto exposure off. There we go. And then we can actually bring this up. So I can either use the slider and do it that way, or what I can do is I can actually type it in. So I'm actually going to type in 500. That's what I want. And then we can start playing around with, you know, the color, the contrast, the tone, and then the auto white balance as well is something that I want to play around with. I want to make sure that they're the same color as the lights. The lights are at 5600 Kelvin, so let's take that off. And there we go, we're at 4250. So let's double click that and go 5600, go. And there we go, a little bit more natural color there, that's fine. We've got 60 Hertz or 50 Hertz if you want anti-flicker, and that's fine. And then you can save that, which is really cool. So it saves it obviously as a customization, which is cool. Now the cool thing is I can lock these. So the auto exposure, I'm going to lock it. And then the auto white balance, I'm going to lock it. That's really important, by the way. If you had like a big white t-shirt and you moved around and moved close, then moved back again, the white balance will automatically keep adjusting to the point where it goes, well, I need to change the white balance. And that's not what you want. You want the white balance to be the same whilst you're moving around. So if I was to obviously then go into tracking mode and get it to track me, and let's start moving around, the white balance is going to stay the same. And that's kind of what you want as you do this. So let's just move over here and move over here. And the great thing is there's a camera that's dedicated to AI and it just tracks you, which is great. I mean, it works really, really well. So if you're performing like with your guitar and you're obviously live streaming, this is going to stay tracking, which is really, really handy. Let's go to there. There we go. Now we can get it to stop tracking now. I can either put my hand up or we can go to control and put it in different modes, standard mode or tracking mode. Now we've been through control, we've been through effects, the other one is assistance. And this is where your focus comes in. So if I put my hand in front there right now, you'll notice that my eyes are still in focus, my hand is out of focus because it's auto-focusing on the face. I can turn auto-focusing off and then I can adjust the focus myself. That's going to get pretty blurry in a minute, there we go. And again, we can proper lock it out if you want to. So we can say autofocus. And as we've got autofocus on, what do we want to focus on? So human face focusing, you got central area focusing, so focus on the central area. Or what you've also got as well is selected area. So I could say, well, actually, I want you to focus just on that over there, that way. So if I move over there, it's going to stay focused on that. Whereas if I come in, you should see the focus shift. There we go. So you can change it like that. I obviously got it on the face right now on autofocus. You've also got when you want to enter privacy mode or not. So you can obviously say never, but within like sort of like 10 seconds go into privacy mode. You got the gesture control. You can also auto rotate when it's upside down. So if you were to hang it upside down, like you know, basically on a pole or something, if you put it up somewhere high, or maybe it's upside down because it's on a mic stand and then pointing down, then it'll auto rotate, and that's really handy to use. So we've got the guitar here, and we've also got this focus and metering mode. Now you may notice as well that it's on face. So if I click on here, we've got a very specific way we can do it. So we could focus it here and then use the controls. Let's just move it down a little bit. There we go. And then that way it will stay focused around this area. So of course, if I move closer and get it to focus in on that, there we go. It's focusing in quite well. It's quite nice. It's staying within that blue area. So we're now back on original sound mode. I think, to be honest, you would plug it into an audio interface or use a separate microphone, certainly for acoustic guitars or audio in the sense of music. Now it takes a little bit of time to get the coloring right for yourself. For me, I've got studio lights, so if you're in a more natural setting, of course, if it's on automatic, it'll change automatically. And if I'm honest, my setting is an unnatural lighting source. So if you've got it next to a window or you've got natural light coming in, then you're going to find the initial look fine. I think it's going to actually pick up really, really nicely. But the great thing is I can go into the effects system and I can start playing around with the auto white balance, the tone, the saturation, the sharp, and also importantly the EV. So it's good that they give you those sort of pro features. There's two things I wanted to bring into the software. The first one is actually with the PTZ control. There's a joystick in the middle and then you kind of click the arrows. I think I'd like to hold those arrows down. I found it a little bit difficult. If I hold it down, it's when I let go it moves, and it's just a little bit strange with that one. But then also I'd like to just see a little bit more granular control with the joystick. I think the joystick's a little bit too fast for me. And then the other thing I'd like to see with the assistants is you've got one where it says a specific area, and if I bring this specific area in, it's a big box. But this is pre-release software, but I can't find a way to change the size of that box. I'd really like to be able to focus on something, you know, this big, and therefore when it's focusing, say, on my hands, then it's going to track that. It looks like at the moment it's predominantly looking at tracking faces, so I hope in the future they're able to track different things, like, you know, track a guitar, track a hand, you know, track a keyboard, things like that, and that would be really, really cool. I'd like to thank EMEET for sending this out to me, and they have said they are already thinking about bringing updates in the future, so this could be the start of it, and of course bring updates further down the line. Now if you have found this useful, give this a thumbs up. It really helps me and it helps the channel grow. If you're going to pick one up, there's a link in the description box right there for you to go and grab it, both on the Pixy website and also a couple of different places as well. They are affiliated links, so if you do click it and then buy one, it does help me out and helps out the channel, but at no additional cost to you. So this is actually a Chord guitar. I know it sounds Chord, but Chord are a company who make guitars, make lots of different things. And this guitar sounds fantastic as an acoustic, but the price of this will really shock you. go and watch the video that's just come up because it's all about this.